Okay, hey guys, I know I'm going off today. I have a bunch of videos that I'm trying to, a lot of words I want to get out today. I don't know, I'm not going to upload all of these on the same day. I will upload them at different times, but something else that I actually wanted to talk about now, switching off of all of my list of no's, and because I have a lot of list of no's that I won't accept in a relationship, I suppose that means that I am, picky. Apparently I am. Okay. So I accept that I'm picking. Call it whatever you want, right? Okay. In any case, what I want to talk about is, okay, so let's say you're like me and you decide that you're just going to be single, okay? Until God sends you your next soulmate, okay? Your real soulmate or a real soulmate, kingdom spouse, divine partner, whatever you want to call him, but somebody who ain't playing no games, right? We all go through things that are sad. We all go through things that are times in our life where we might feel sad, or we might be trying to, getting over a death of a loved one. Okay. Maybe you just suffer from highs and lows or depression and things like that. Let me definitely say to you that I'm just like everybody else, right? I definitely have moments, sad times, and times of despair and when I've gone through things, right? Okay, so I want to express that when I say just like everybody else, I mean, I'm talking about like when my husband died, I went through such a deep depression for so long. And it's not like you ever wake up when you lose somebody you care about, that you really care about, that you were really enmeshed with, like that was your soulmate. Okay. You don't really just wake up one day and just say, oh, I don't miss him no more. I'm glad I'm done with that. No more tears. We're done. It doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like that. You learn to just function with the pain. You actually just learn to function with a hole in your heart, like with a piece of your heart that's just missing. Okay? You just learn to move on through that, right? But that's severe. And I want to talk about this because this is something that's near and dear to me, okay? It's very near and dear to me. Specifically when you do lose somebody close to you, and it doesn't have to be just your mate, just when you lose somebody that you're literally used to seeing every single day, that you're so close to, that you talk to them every day, you talk to them all day long or whatever, right? If your mate was your best friend, or just your best friend, whatever, you literally kind of like you grow like a third hand. It's like your brain gets used to being enmeshed with that person. Your brain gets used to getting pinged, like ping. Your brain gets used to hearing that person's voice, seeing that person's face, touching that person's skin, right? It's like, I know for my first husband, it's like, I could almost feel when he was about to come home, right? And my body would respond. I'm talking about to the very day that he died. Because when you are with a real soulmate, when you are with a person that's true love, real love, a soulmate, right? You can almost hear each other's thoughts. Literally, you can call each other. It's telepathy. It's real. It's absolutely real. I tested it out so many times with my husband. He absolutely responded to me every time. We were so tight like that. And when you lose somebody like that, right? When you lose somebody that close to you, it is like, it's literally like your arm has been cut off. And they say like when you have lost an arm or a limb, it's like your brain doesn't know it. And you keep trying to use it. But then you go to use your arm and it's not there, right? Because you have to literally rewire your brain, right? You have to rewire your brain to use different neural pathways, okay? Literally, that is what death is like. It is literally like that. For the longest time, I'm talking about every day, every minute, or, the pain of losing somebody like that comes in waves. And in the very, very beginning, especially if it was shocking, especially if you didn't get a chance to say goodbye, if it was a traumatic situation, just depending on what it was, in the beginning, it's minute to minute. It's minute to minute. You have to literally just decide to take in air, right? You have to decide and choose to take in air and exhale. And that in itself can be an accomplishment. When you're in such grief, and especially when you're in so much grief, and you don't numb. If you choose not to self-medicate through drugs and alcohol and sex, opioids or whatever, and you are just feeling the pain, that's what it feels like. Minute to minute. And sometimes it feels like just don't choke. It's like literally don't choke on just lack of breath. Okay? And that's normal when that happens, especially when it happens suddenly and you have no way of preparing. You do get through that. You get through that. Okay? And then you go into a phase where you're crying maybe every hour or every other hour or, a couple times a day, right? Because it's like you start to function where you do normal things of life, like cooking and cleaning, maybe taking care of your kids or whatever the case, go back to work or whatever. But you have these reminders for whatever reason. It's like your brain sends yourself a reminder that says, so-and-so is gone. So-and-so is missing. So-and-so is not here. And it like floods back to you, right? And you feel the tears coming, right? Or you feel the pain. And it takes your breath away. And I say I went through that, what I just described, that right there, at least for a good 3 or 4 years, right? So, for example, I would, especially once I came to Atlanta, it was 6 months after my husband had died. I came to Atlanta and I can remember going to people's houses and working, doing makeup, right? And as soon as I got in the car, wanting to call my husband and tell him how that job went, how that gig went, how that experience went of doing that, whatever. And I couldn't call him, right? And I would cry because that's how it always was with him. Whenever I did anything, whenever I did any job, I'd always call him right away. He wanted to know, how did it go? He was always so excited if he couldn't be there with me or whatever. He just was like, how did it go? How did it go? And so my first response would always be to call him. And when I would go to do that in the car, I would literally want to, and it would be like, nope. So one of the grief techniques that I learned from someone was to go ahead and speak out loud what you would say to that person if he was here. If they were here, sitting right here, what you would say to them. Like, just talk to them. Like, go ahead and just say it, videotape it or just say it out loud. Because what it does is it kind of stops that synapse in your brain from going off and firing. Like, I want to talk, I want to say something, or like it's like you're going around and because it's like you want to get these words out, but you stop yourself because the person isn't here. But what happens is it reloops in your brain. It'll reloop and reloop. So you can either write, like if writing is your thing, then write it down. Or talking out loud, or even doing it. I do like video diaries all the time of myself. And saying things to people that I want to say to them, but for whatever reason, I don't really want to say that to them. Like, I don't want to get it. I don't want them to know that I'm saying what I'm saying to them, right? It's just it's a coping technique that I've learned, and it does help. It helps to stop that kind of like loop. Okay. The other thing is, I remember reading, also somewhere reading or hearing, I don't remember now, but that emotions in general, sadness and happiness, all are like waves, like waves to the sea. And you know how waves, they come in and they come out. They come in and they come out, right? It's just a cycle, right? It's just a cycle. Waves. So the sadness that you're feeling as the wave comes in, most people are like, oh, they want to freak out, especially if you are self-sabotaging your body or whatever, and you are addicted to stuff or whatever, you turn to drugs and alcohol, you just want to take a drink so you don't sit here and wallow in your tears. Okay, in actuality though, what happens when you allow yourself to cry? This is actually God's mechanism that he gave us. He actually gave us the ability to cry, to be able to deal with our feelings, our emotions, to be able to get them out so that we are not stuck. Okay? It's actually healthy. It's actually healthy to cry. For men too. It's actually healthy. It's actually healthy. And a lot of people don't understand that. But if you think about it, if you're a Bible reader, if you read your Bible, if you are a Christian or whatever, you know that Jesus Christ cried for Lazarus. When he heard that Lazarus was dead, right? Now, Jesus knew that Lazarus was going to die. He knew he was going to die. He also knew that he was, and he could, and that he was going to resurrect him. He had the ability to resurrect him and bring him back. He knew he could, and he knew he was. And he still cried. Jesus, perfect Jesus, still cried and shed tears. That's the example for us. So however many tears you need to cry, do not be ashamed of them. Do not push them away. Because your tears and your crying is a testimony. It is a living proof testimony to that person who you're crying over, the love that they shared for you, the love that they gave to you, right? And that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing, to not deny that person or to not push the feelings for that person away. No. In my case, like, I love my husband. No, he earned the tears that I cried for him, and I still cry occasionally, I'm now more an emotional person because of it, right? So I can just think of him, and I can have happy tears. Sometimes I laugh still at his jokes. I literally still laugh at some of my husband's jokes that he told so many years ago. And while I'm laughing, I will shed a tear. And it's not because I'm actually sad. It's just because I get emotional when I think about him. Because he did that to me, right? But that is normal. That is normal, and I want you to know that that's normal. Or whatever grief of losing whoever, if it was a child or whatever, just know that that's normal. Now, there might be days that you have that you feel like you're just crying more than normal. For a woman in particular, take note of those days. A lot of times it's right before you're about to start your menstrual cycle. That's normal. We are more emotional. That's why they call it PMS. Okay, that week. Absolutely, I cried more for my husband during my PMS weeks. And I'm still that way because that's also normal. That's part of your cycle to be a little bit more hormonal. Okay, and that's okay. When you're having those days, though, or when you're having those feelings, I know for me, right, I remember hearing somebody say, and something I listened to, or some podcast or something, to create for yourself a happy cheat code. Like a cheat code. Things that make you happy that you can do in moments where you are feeling a little consumed by your sadness. Where you're feeling like you're having a hard time pulling yourself out of it, okay? And I'm not talking about just a crying fit. I'm talking about just like you're kind of just having a sad day or whatever, and it's just kind of like you're needing to pull yourself up out, right? So what you do is when you are happy, or as you're going through about your life or whatever, keep a list. Keep it on your phone, keep it wherever. I have several lists. I have them everywhere, but of what I consider to be my happy list. Things that I like. Things that bring me joy. Okay? So for things that literally lift your mood. Things that will raise your vibration. Okay? And some of the things that are on my list is listening to music. Absolutely listening to music. If listening to worship music makes you happy or raises your vibration, do that. Right? There are certain songs that literally are actually known to raise your vibration because their frequency is a higher frequency. One of them that I'm thinking of in particular, though, is Bob Marley. A lot of Bob Marley songs are actually very high frequency, right? And I know everybody wants to say, oh, because he was high when he was... No, it's not. It's the frequency of the music. It's the actual frequency of the tone in the music, okay? And it's like the song, even the song, what is it? Don't Worry, Be Happy. Even that song, how hard is it to not be happy by the time you're done listening to that song? I put that song on and it's just like, you're happy, right? Okay, so certain songs will do that. If you notice that certain songs just make you happy, whatever, create a list, or create a playlist on your phone. That's your happy joint. That is your happy playlist. You're gonna put that on. You know, by the time you're done listening to all 10 songs or whatever, you're gonna feel better, right? Okay, so that's one way. That's definitely on my list as far as my cheat code, right? Some of the other things on my list is one of the other things on my list is taking baths. I definitely enjoy taking baths. Taking baths is definitely something that makes me happy. Taking walks. I love to take walks. I love to soak my feet. I love to soak my feet. Even if I can't take a bath, whatever, I will soak my feet. If I can put my feet in water, if I can just soak them in a bathtub too. I like that too. Something else is like when it's raining out, okay, especially when there's been like a thunderstorm with lightning, especially after that's over and you go outside and put your feet on the ground, go ground outside on the grass, right? You will receive a higher charge because the ground has a higher charge that it's giving off. After a storm, after it rains, but especially after a thunder, like a lightning storm, especially like if you ever notice when there is a thunderstorm and there is a lightning. I mean, I'm from Florida, so in Florida we saw this. We had lightning all the time. It was always lightning in Florida, but it'd be over in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. It's over, and you go outside and the grass looks so much greener. It's because it's highly charged. So that is the best time to go outside and stick your feet on the ground. Okay, so that is part of my that's another thing that I have on my happy list. Okay, I like to me personally, I like to go online. I like to go on YouTube or something and just type in funny kids. I love to watch funny children, funny kids, and babies. They crack me up. I mean, kids are just so innocently pure funny in the things that they say that you just can't help but laugh, I remember, I know there's one video in particular. It doesn't matter how many times I see it. I just think it's so funny. It's when the two little girls, they're sisters, and they're like naked, and their mom comes in and finds them. The sister has drawn stripes down her baby sister, her whole body, with a marker. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And the baby sister's like naked or whatever with a little pacifier in her mouth. And she's just letting her sister draw all over her. And she's like, her mom. And so she turns to her mom. She turns to the older child, the older sister turns to her mother and says, what? She's a zebra. And she says it so like, what's the problem? I just was turning my sister into a zebra. Hello, doesn't she look like a zebra? And it's just so funny. It's just the way she's a zebra. She's a zebra, mommy. And the little baby sister's like, yeah, I'm a zebra. It's so cute. It's so funny. It just cracks me up, right? And these kids, so, it's like, go on YouTube and you can find, make a happy list. Make a list of videos that just crack you up, right? That you just can't help but laugh when you see them. It could be funny pets, it could be funny children, it could be funny anything, whatever it is, right? It could be stand-up comedians, whatever. But one thing is, after my husband died, what I noticed for a long time, basically, that if I didn't seek joy, if I didn't actually make the conscious decision to laugh, I didn't laugh. I wasn't laughing. It was like I went a few years before it even hit me, that it even dawned on me that I really didn't laugh, and that Travis, my husband, he was my comedian. He was my laughter. He made everybody laugh. I mean, he was funny. You can ask anybody. And my family, people are like, everybody knows that about Travis. Was silly. He was so silly. He had a silly nature to him. And he just cracked me up. Like I said, I still laugh at his stuff now. But I didn't realize that I relied upon him for laughter. I didn't even know I was doing it. That's just what happened in our relationship, right? So when he left my life, I was no longer laughing. I mean, I didn't find things to laugh, right? So I had to actually make the decision, the conscious choice to laugh or find something to make me laugh, right? So that is something else that I put on my list of things that will help to lift your mood, right? Now, as far as vitamins and herbs and things like that, right? Obviously, I'm not a doctor, seek your own professional advice, all that kind of whatever jargon, okay? I'm going to tell you what I take for myself. I take something called L-theanine. It's an amino acid. It's called L-theanine. It raises your serotonin naturally. Well, what it actually does is it actually opens the receptors in your brain for serotonin, so you can feel it. And it is a natural substance. It is a amino acid that breaks the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so when you take it in your body, what that means is it doesn't need to be metabolized through your liver to be utilized. As soon as it hits your stomach and it dissolves, it goes into your system and it can go straight to your brain. Okay, it's a happy pill. Okay, now it doesn't last forever, and it is a protein base. So what that also means is that you don't want to eat it. You either take it by itself or take it with a carbohydrate, but you don't want to take it with another protein, because the two proteins together will cancel each other out. So that is the recommendation, is to take it with a carbohydrate or take it alone. And it's called L-theanine, or GABA. Okay, and GABA, I believe GABA is like the precursor to L-theanine, but both are the precursor. Both help to open up the receptors in your brain to serotonin, to raise your serotonin. Now, when you're having blue days, sad days, and whatnot, I want you to think about what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. Grief and sadness, true sadness and grief, comes from usually something in the past that we can't change. It comes from something in the past, right? We're looking back. We're thinking back. We're wishing. It's like I wish, shoulda, coulda, woulda, or whatever, right? It's a past. It's usually something in the past. When you're having anxiety, that kind of feeling, like a panic attack kind of feeling, or anxiousness, nervousness, which you might think you're upset or sad. That's why I'm saying think about what you're actually feeling, right? Because if you're having more of that type of feeling, that is usually something of the future. You are usually overthinking, and you are usually scared of, and it's more of a future thought. You are having anxiety over something to come, something in the future, okay? And in all honesty, usually whatever you're fearing is not founded. It's usually a result of you overthinking. And in that case, also, I recommend more the GABA, okay? I recommend more the GABA versus the L-theanine, because GABA seems to help a little bit more with that, with the anxiety, with more anxiety, okay? As far as something that, you can take naturally, right? Overthinking can really kill. I mean, it could just really, overthinking basically puts you in a place of like non-action. Overthinking something will literally make you still. You'll do nothing. You're going to sit here and have anxiety and all of that. And it's, like I said, it's usually something in the future that you can't control, that you have no control over. And if you play the whole scenario out over whatever it is that you're actually having anxiety over, like, for example, maybe you're having a panic attack because you have a fear of dogs or something, right? And you're scared to, maybe like me, I got bit doing a shopping delivery, right, at somebody's house. This woman opened the door and this dog lunged out at me and bit my leg. Oh, I was pissed. Okay, but I could develop a fear because I could say, oh, I'm afraid, I'm fearful that every time someone opens the door now, a dog is going to jump out at me and bite me, and I could be having anxiety over that. And that's not to say that I don't sometimes, I definitely still fear, because it's a real fear. It does exist, right? But it's not going to happen every single time. And if I overthink it, I'm going to overthink myself to the point of not working at all, not picking up any deliveries at all, right? Not doing any of my hustle or whatever. Okay, so that is something like that. So it's best sometimes to address it, be like, yeah, if this happens, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or I'm going to prepare like this, or I'm going to whatever. Okay. So don't let overthinking cause you anxiety and whatever. Okay, I think that's it. So basically for this particular video, I'm trying to keep everything to like 20 minutes or around that time. So this particular one was creating your own happy cheat code, and you do it in advance before you're sad. You do it in advance before your next episode or whatever. Allow the waves to come and go. Allow the waves to come and go, because your crying and your tears, they will stop. They don't just stay forever. Okay. I mean, the sadness in your heart kind of, that's there, but the actual crying and the moment of that, it does stop, right? So allow the emotions that you're feeling to come to you, to feel them, to acknowledge them, to speak them out. It's okay to just acknowledge the sadness that you feel, and that it is okay that you feel sad. It is okay. Sadness is a feeling, and it is okay. You can cry about it and let that happen, and then picture that feeling as it's rolling over your body, right? Going down and then out your feet, and there it goes. Okay? And so it's a wave that comes and then it's gone. And you're like, okay, that one is done. That one is over, and let me move on now. Okay? Until the next wave of whatever that happens. And it is healthy. Remember, it is healthy to feel feelings. It is healthy to feel sad. It is healthy to feel happy. It is healthy to feel joyful. Okay? It is literally healthy for us to feel these range of emotions. This is why we have them. Okay, so don't run from them. And if you're having a day where you can't seem to actually kind of get out of the feeling, remember to create for yourself a happy cheat code, a list of things, a few things, a lot of things, whatever, list of things that you can do at any given time or any given moment or whatever that you can access to kind of help lift your mood and help you to feel better. Okay, so that's your happy cheat code. So that's basically what I wanted to go over in this video. Okay, all right, talk with you soon.